to talk about the thing that I'm about tired talking about at this point, and I'm kind of glad this is over, so I don't have to talk about the Celtics for a minute. What went wrong? I'll start because this is a team I did pick, and the only reason I picked, if y'all remember, was because I didn't want to be the type of person to just switch. Although I said I was like 5% confident that they were actually winning, and it was looking good at first. The first couple minutes in the first quarter, I was like, okay, this is it. Good ball movement, good defense, great defense for a second there. I was like, I love the rotations, they're on it. And then the unforced turnovers happen again. Y'all, they finished with 22 turnovers tonight. They actually had like 12 turnovers before the half. I don't know what to say about these turnovers. I can't do it. The same things. And I also said that Jayson Tatum had to have a good game. It's game 6. Guess what? Guess how many points he scored, man?
How many did he have, Q?
He had 13. Way less than his season average. He did not show up tonight. I give Jaylen Brown a little credit. He showed up. He at least made it interesting at the end. And go on a little mini run on his own. But I said it had to be Jayson Tatum. And he did not have it tonight. And these turnovers, man. 5 from Jayson Tatum. 5 from Jaylen Brown. 3 from Al Horford. 3 from Marcus Smart. These turnovers are terrible.
Very unsatisfactory.
Man, these turnovers are terrible. Terrible. And that's honestly the story of the game again. It's the same story they say every time. Well, we got to take care of the ball. But you're not doing it. And it's some of it came from lazy passes. It was like, why would you do that pass? Why would you attempt that? It was just passes like that, and some turnovers that were like really result of like just not being solid and put together. I wonder if they just let the refs get to their head. And there was a lot of complaining tonight. You can see clearly from the beginning that they weren't calling it like previous playoff games in this series. They were not letting them play like they were earlier. This is very different from game 1.
Yeah.
Game 1, it was like they almost letting everything go. But as the Celtics, you kind of started in the first quarter. Marcus Smart with the drawing the fouls and some of the flopping. You see they're calling it.
Theatrics. Yeah.
Basically. So if they're calling it, you got to adjust. Especially you set the tone early on about how it's being called. At least you helped it. You got to adjust. Don't let it get to your head and just consume you. There's too much complaining. And complaining leads to you not getting back, not being focused. And we already talked about how they really need a playmaker to really expose mismatches. There were so many shots that I was like, why take this shot? Jaylen Brown in particular. And Jayson Tatum, he had Steph Curry on him several instances tonight. And you're going to pass the ball?
Mm-hmm.
You got the height advantage. Al Horford, too. He had the same thing. And Jaylen Brown, why continue these contested layup runner floaters when it's not working? I think I'd rather you take up. And Derek White was hesitant on threes. I was like, he's not confident to shoot tonight because he passed up several open jumpers tonight. It was bad.
The pressure, man.
I guess it was the pressure. But I honestly, the finals is a different beast. But again, this is not the Celtics team I chose. I chose a team that beat the Nets. I chose a team that beat the Bucks. And just to be clear about the Nets, I chose a team that swept the Nets, so I thought I was doing pretty good here. This is not the same Celtics team. In my defense,
I guess
it's not.
Celtics.
I don't know what Celtics these are.
It's the New Hampshire Celtics.
I don't know. But it was bad. That's basically it. It's Jayson Tatum didn't step up. Same old turnovers. Too much complaining. I don't know. You let a great start that you had just deteriorate. And it's on them. And I always said this. They beat themselves. They kind of beat themselves up tonight too.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's it for right now. What you got? I don't want to take up all the time. You go ahead.
You good, man. It's okay, man. I told everyone in the chat, Celtics fans, this is a safe space. Let it out. Q, you can let it out. It's okay. Even though I did say the Warriors would win, I'm just relishing that for a second. I did say that, but anyway, we're wrong for the Celtics, man. They got off to a very good start. Went on a nice, 14-2 run in the first quarter, like you said. But I think after, I think they expected, the Warriors are going to bow down and because we went on a nice run in the first quarter. No. This is a championship pedigree team in the Warriors. They've been doing this for years. You heard Steph and Clay and Dre talk about it. They've been building this up for years. So at this stage, at this level, they were not going to let anything deteriorate them from the path. And I feel like the Celtics just weren't mentally checked into that. Once they saw that the Warriors didn't go down, they were like, oh, they're different. And that was it. That was their whole mental state. Like, oh, the Warriors are different because all of a sudden, 21-0 run. And from there, they just could not. They were playing catch-up the entire time. And it looked like they were playing lifeless basketball to me. I felt like the Celtics just were going through the motions after they lost the lead. They were like, oh, well, that's it. We can't do it. They have ultra confidence. And that's what it's about. It's just, as a team, you're at this level and you're at this stage, you're on your home court, you got to pull everything that you have. And I just think that they weren't ready for that. They weren't expecting to be punched in the mouth, for lack of better terms. And that's what the Warriors did. Then the actual things, Jayson Tatum was not aggressive. I don't know how many shots he took, but he only had 13 points. And this is at least 20 to 25 point per game type of scorer. A guy that was getting compared to the level and ranking of Kevin Durant after they beat and swept the Nets, which has Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So yeah, I'm expecting, a lot more of a takeover mode from Jayson Tatum. That didn't happen. Like you said, as a team, they were playing kind of soft. They were expecting calls, complaining to the refs. You just got to go out and play. You didn't exploit these mismatches. If I'm Al Horford, Steph Curry is guarding me, I'm not passing out of a back down. It's one-on-one. They didn't even send help. Mark Jackson said it. That's disrespectful. The Warriors just disrespected the Celtics, and I'm 6'9", 6'10". I'm a career back to the basket type of scorer. I can shoot, and you pass the ball. What are you thinking? You're down. This is their best player, who's also 6'2", 6'3". You're 6'10". You can't take advantage of that matchup. I'm like, oh, this is all across the board bad. This is across the board bad. Jaylen Brown. He tried. I don't really have a lot to say about him. He tried, but it just wasn't enough. And once again, I think we talked about this last game. Where was the Celtics bench? Grant Williams, maybe a couple of shots. No Pritchard buckets, no Derek White buckets. They had no other source of energy on either end of the floor. And and Marcus Smart. You're the defensive player of the year, and Steph is just dribbling circles around you. He's getting to the basket, finishing. To me, that was the killer right there. It wasn't even about him making threes. We know Steph's gonna do that, but he was getting to the basket easily, finishing over. Robert Williams. He had some key defensive stops, but you can't rely on an injured Robert Williams to defend every single shot at the basket. And then once he gets into a mismatch on the perimeter, what can they do? So, yeah, man, the Celtics, that's where championship mentality makes a huge difference. This is, to me, still a young team, a very inexperienced team. They had no players on their team that had been to the finals before, so they now have that experience. They know how it feels to lose, or take that into next season, and they are able to excel. And I think they'll be back. I think they have the capabilities, but tonight was just a horrible display of, simply lack of confidence to me. If they would have played with a little bit more confidence, this game would have been closer at least. But they were just out of it after seeing the Warriors stick with their game plan and come back and win the championship.
Yeah. Tell me why. And again, I agree with everything you said. How do you out rebound it again? with these small lineup, man. You got these Al Horford, Robert Williams, these big athletic squad in the Celtics. You get
Tatum, 6'8", Jaylen Brown, 6'6", 6'7". They have the size advantage, and
they do.
Andrew Wiggins, getting on the boards. Draymond Green, big time on the boards tonight. Looney, even their guards. Steph, GP playing great defense as well. They got beaten every category tonight, and it's ridiculous because they have that type of size. My bad, I didn't mean to take over, but that was something else I didn't get to say, but I forgot.
Yeah, I just realized that too. When I was looking again, I was like, that was one thing I meant to say earlier. Yeah, you got out rebounded, and you think you use your size to your advantage at least by going inside. Like they started that in the first quarter. I was like, that's good. Keep that going. Keep going. What's working for you? They just deviated away from that, and it's like when the pressure kicks in, they start going ISO or they rush shots and have these stupid turnovers. And I guess, like you said, it's really like that mentality that just wasn't there. And I thought there was still no excuses because they felt pressure. This team has been together for a little bit. At least Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown. They've been to conference finals before. But again, This is their first chance at the finals, true. And the finals is a different beast. I give you that. But they were just so outside themselves, especially Jayson Tatum, where it was like, okay, you, sir, I can make an argument that he choked. You could. Choking to me is like you don't perform to your at least regular season level.
To your average.
At least to your average. He was below average multiple times in this series. At least Jaylen Brown was trying. He showed more of an alpha mentality than Jayson did tonight. Even though some of his shots were questionable in my opinion, but at least he was trying, and you could see it. And Jayson Tatum's, he wasn't there as much. So that's the next thing he needs, honestly. Just get past that hump. Wear your Kobe sleeve again, something to help inspire you. He didn't wear that tonight, like something.
Yeah.
Because he wants to be at that level, but it's like now I'm questioning the whole thing now. Just because he didn't show up. It's different if he showed up and they still lost. It's just the fact he did not show up at all. And I got the shots he took. He took 18 shots. Jaylen Brown took 23. You could at least get 20 up. This is game 6. You got a chance to defend. You got to try to get to game 7. You should have the green light. But he was hesitant a lot.
How many free throws did Jayson Tatum attempt?
None. Good point. Then that shows you how he was playing. Although he was complaining a lot, like, hey, I got fouled, when I ain't seen anything much, but still. You gotta just keep going. Keep driving.
Yeah. That's what I mean by you have to have the mentality of I'm not going to get anything handed to me. I'm not going to get calls. You just have to expect that. You just have to go in there. You got to finish. And I know he loves to Euro step and, use certain moves and stuff like that. But sometimes you just got to go strong to the basket, get contact. If you don't have any, outside game going, get to the rim, get to the free throw line. And there weren't a lot of free throw shots in this game on either end for the Warriors or the Celtics. But it's definitely alarming when your best player isn't getting the most shots or isn't being aggressive, isn't getting to the free throw line at least, I expect at least that.
Yeah.
At least some, signs of that that I'll see that you're trying to, but it didn't even seem like he was in a state where he was going to even try to get to the free throw line. He was complaining about calls that were barely any contact, if any. You can't do that at this level, at this stage, at this far point in the series. It's you're gonna get hard pressed to get every foul call that you want. It's just the reality of the game.
It is. And just to further your point about the bench and how terrible they were tonight.
Oh man.
Man, all right. They had some of the worst plus minuses. I think Jeff Van Gundy mentioned that they're negative 50, minus 50 in entering the game. So listen up to this though. All right. First of all, Pritchard played 8 minutes. Guess what plus minus he finished with?
In 8 minutes. What?
Minus 20.
In 8 minutes?
In 8 minutes. Minus 20. And that's probably part of that run Golden State went on, because they put Pritchard in earlier than they normally do. That was part of it. So then Williams played 16 minutes. Well, Williams and White played 16 minutes each. Williams finished with minus 18, and White finished with minus 26. So the bench was terrible, and that's mostly when Golden State made their runs based on what you see here. And plus, they got into foul trouble tonight. Marcus Smart, he finished with 5, but he had some early foul trouble. That did not help him at all. I think, Jayson Tatum was in trouble at 1.2. So when you get the fouls, you gotta adjust the rotations and go from there. But it was like whatever he may try to do, it just wasn't working. And I thought they had the depth based on what we've seen. Just the bench has not stepped up at all. They ain't have a consistent 6-man to really help in this series. In previous series, it was like you don't know who might go off. It could be Williams, could be White, could be Pritchard. None of them really showed up this series. So that's another difference. Like you said, the bench was terrible to not get any contributions. But still, I still put most of the blame on that man right there, Jayson Tatum. Because ultimately, he's the superstar. He earned it throughout the playoff run, and we expected more from him. And he played below average. At least Jaylen Brown was more consistent this series. He gave you more consistent numbers. Jayson Tatum was just all over the place with the turnovers and barely scoring and the low intensity. And it's a lot. It's gonna be a long off season for him.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Very long off season. But I think I'm at peace now.